Good evening. Thanks for joining us for the 10 o'clock edition of Source 16 News on this Friday. Here's what's new this hour. Source 16 News has learned that several agencies have been conducting a search for a missing man in the Crofton area for several hours this afternoon and evening. Christian County Emergency Management Director Randy Graham told Source 16 that they are looking for 51-year-old Christopher Robinson, who was walking with friends around 4 o'clock yesterday and then just suddenly disappeared. He says Robinson is a white male and was wearing brown coveralls, a black hoodie, and work boots. According to Graham, the Christian County Sheriff's Department, Christian County Rescue, Lacey, and Crofton volunteer fire personnel were dispatched to the Atkinson Schoolhouse Road and Orange Grove Church Road areas north of Crofton just around 2:40 this afternoon to assist in a search for the missing adult male. He says members of Kentucky Emergency Management, as well as family members, friends, and private citizens have also aided in the search. In addition, all-terrain vehicles were brought in to assist in the search for Robinson. He says about 45 people were looking for Robinson at the peak, and the Red Cross has been on hand providing support for those involved in the search. Christian County Sheriff spokesman Captain Chris Miller told Source 16 they have been interviewing family members and friends regarding where he could be or what may have happened before he disappeared over 24 hours ago. Due to the dangerous terrain, Graham says he anticipates the search will be suspended at this hour and then resume tomorrow morning at 8. Well, the Amish community in Graves County is mourning the loss of 4 children tonight. A buggy carrying a family of 9 tipped over when it hit a swollen creek in Dublin, which is near Fancy Farm, during last night's storm. Source 16's Michelle Herron has the story.
Around 8:30 last night and vowed he would not stop searching until all the children were found. Around 10 o'clock this morning, Graves County rescue crews found the body of an 11-year-old Amish girl, not far from where crews found 2 of the other bodies late last night.
You know, in doing this for 26 years, and especially when you're dealing with, this is one of the most, probably the hardest cases I've ever worked, because you've had 4 young children. You know, you had an infant, you had a 5-month-old. You know, just going in your mind, and of course you sit and think, well, what if that was my child? How would I feel out? You know, sitting in this house while they were out searching. And I'd said I wasn't going to leave until the last one was brought home, and I stuck to that word.
7 of which were children, were unable to cross this creek, which led to the devastating outcome.
You know, we received a large, heavy amount of rain in a very short period of time. They probably didn't know that the water had accumulated or was flowing that fast because it was dark and they couldn't see. And they probably thought, you know, they were wanting to get home before, you know, not knowing what the storm was going to bring. You know, they had their children's safety in mind of trying to get home as soon as they could.
The father tried to rescue the children when their buggy tipped, but the waist-high water was moving too swiftly. Crews arrived about 15 minutes after they got the call and searched for over 11 and a half hours for the children ages 5 months, 5 years, 7, and 11. But even with the loss of these children, Sheriff Redmond says it could have been worse.
I don't think there's anything we could have done. I don't think there's, you know, the parents, it's not their fault. They may, you know, it's an accident. Accidents happen every day, and nobody can explain why. We can't explain why. Nobody meant for it to happen. There was no wrongdoing. We don't suspect any wrongdoing, and it's just a tragic accident that we'll never forget.
Michelle Herron, Source 16 News.
And Graves County is not a stranger to tragedies involving water. Just 2 years ago, 3 Graves County teens died in Kentucky Lake when their boat capsized. The first severe storm of 2011 not only caused the death of 4 children, but it also spawned an EF2 tornado that touched down in Christian County last night, according to the National Weather Service. As Source 16 reported live from the Whitty Lane and Happy Hollow subdivision last night during the storm, numerous power poles were snapped in half and trees were down and barns were destroyed on the Princeton Road. We also reported during the 10 o'clock news that we had received reports of damage on Everett Lane and trees down on Quisenberry Lane, along with widespread flooding problems in the county. National Weather Service Warning Coordination meteorologist Rick Shanklin was out with a crew today in Christian County touring the damage and told Source 16 that it appears an EF2 tornado touched down in the Everett Lane area where several grain bins were destroyed and trees were toppled. He says it appears the EF2 tornado lost its intensity as it moved through the Quisenberry Lane and Princeton Road area to an EF1 or EF0. The Princeton Road was closed last night from Happy Hollow to Whitty Lane due to snapped utility poles and debris from some barns that were destroyed. Last night, Pinneral Electric spokesman Brent Gilkey told Source 16 that about 520 customers were without power in that area due to the damage to the power poles. Princeton Road remained closed today as Pinneral Electric crews worked to replace at least 10 utility poles. This morning, Gilkey reported that crews found 2 more snap poles and that it would take longer than initially expected to restore power, which forced the closure of Sinking Fork Elementary School. Power was finally restored to the area around 4:20 this afternoon. As we also reported last night at this hour, a vacant home on John Rivers Road south of Hopkinsville was destroyed by fire after emergency personnel reported the house was hit by lightning. In addition to the damage from last night's storm, as we said earlier, there was widespread flooding across the county, with Christian County Emergency Management Weather Coordinator David Powell reporting about 3.5 to 4 inches of rainfall. As previously reported, the line of severe storms downed trees caused power outage and flooding problems in Callaway, Fulton, Graves, Hopkins, Lyon, Marshall, and Muhlenberg counties. Today, several western Kentucky counties were still reporting road closures due to high water and flooding problems. Meanwhile, we could see another round of potentially dangerous weather moving through the area over the weekend. We'll have more on that coming up in weather in just a few minutes. The Department of Defense announced a 101st Airborne Division soldier died Thursday after he was medically evacuated from Afghanistan for treatment of liver cancer. 29-year-old Staff Sergeant Jerome Fertamag of Pohnpei, Micronesia, died under hospice care and was an avionic radar repairer assigned to Bravo Company, 96th Combat Support Battalion, 101st Combat Aviation Brigade. According to Fort Campbell, he joined the Army in March 2003 and arrived at Fort Campbell in January 2007. Kentucky State Police are investigating a string of burglaries that occurred overnight in Graves County. State Police responded to the first burglary report around 11 o'clock last night at the Dinner Bell restaurant on Highway 45 North, just north of Mayfield, after a resident noticed the front window broken out to the business. Police say cash was stolen from the restaurant. 2 other businesses located just south of the Dinner Bell on Highway 45 were also burglarized. Shortly after 7 o'clock this morning, State Police report Purchase Ford and Shelby Automotive were discovered to be burglarized after employees arrived to work. Police say both car dealerships had similar signs of forced entry through rear and side doors, and cash was stolen from one of the businesses. If you know anything about the string of burglaries, contact Kentucky State Police at 1-800-222-5555. State Police say callers may remain anonymous. Would you be willing to cut your hair if it made someone else's wish come true? That's what a 6-year-old Hopkinsville girl did yesterday. Source 16's Michelle Herron has more.
Having hair is something most of us take for granted, but millions of children that suffer from alopecia, ectodermal dysplasia, and various cancers have lost more than just their hair. They suffer from a loss of self. To help these children, Lindsay Brazier is donating 12 inches of her long red hair to the nonprofit organization Locks of Love. She is only 6. Locks of Love provides custom-made hair pieces that are made with real human hair. They allow kids to swim, shower, and do gymnastics. In short, they can be kids again. Not only is Lindsay donating her hair to help children's self-esteem, she's also making the donation in memory of a close family member.
Sue.
What happened to Aunt Sue?
She died.
She died. What did she die of?
Cancer.
Cancer. So what does it feel like with short hair now?
Good.
Good. Do you like your haircut? Owner of Razor's Edge Barbershop in Hopkinsville, Leslie Toy, has been donating hair to Locks of Love for 13 years, averaging 30 ponytails each year.
Rewarding when you have someone like the little girl just here, she's doing it because her aunt passed away. So, yeah, I tear up with them too.
It takes 10 10-inch ponytails to make one hairpiece, and even though they don't cure any of the illnesses these children suffer from, it does rebuild their self-esteem. Michelle Herron, Source 16 News.
If you're interested in making a donation, you can find more information at locksoflove.org. Fort Campbell officials are pleased to announce that 5 local wounded warriors will be representing the Army in the military's upcoming 2nd annual Warrior Games. Officials say the games are an Olympic-style event for wounded, ill, and injured service members from all branches of the U.S. Armed Forces. The soldiers that were selected from Fort Campbell are First Lieutenant Elizabeth Merwin, Sergeant First Class Landon Ranker, Sergeant James Arnold, Staff Sergeant Joseph Lowry, and Specialist Jasmine Perry. The Army team consists of 90 active and reserve soldiers stationed around the world. In addition, officials say the competition, a joint effort between the U.S. Olympic Committee and the Department of Defense, will take place May 16th through May 21st at the U.S. Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is $76 million and Saturday's Powerball jackpot is $184 million.